baby, we are live. Hey, friends. Let me test the comment section. What's up? Good morning. Where are you coming in from? How's everybody doing? Who's out there? I want to know where you're coming in from. What city are you in? How many employees do you have? And what industry are you in? And also, just as an icebreaker, are you a chocolate person or are you completely insane and you like vanilla? Just kidding. My son does not like chocolate and I'm fascinated. How is everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know in the comments if you're here. This tool that I use does not let me see how many people have joined, which is kind of like a fun game for me as a presenter. I'm sure there's a reason, but maybe I need to talk to their product marketer over at StreamYard and be like, why? What is that black box? Hey, Joshua, I see you all over LinkedIn. It is so good to see you here. I didn't know you were in Colorado Springs. You should connect with AC Holmes. She's out there too. The zoo industry. Joshua, I have so many questions. I thought you were cool before, but now I think you're like 10 times cooler. Who else is here? Even if you just want to say like, I'm tired, I don't want to answer your questions. That's fine. How do I make my face bigger? Oh, hello. Here I am. I wish you could see all the bright lights in front of me. I feel like I'm about to be investigated. Like, what's that called? I'm about to be like, what am I trying to say? Joshua, what am I trying to say? I'm about to be interrogated, not investigated. Interrogated by my LinkedIn audience in the best way. Who else is here? If it's just me and Joshua, I'm for this. We're going to have like a private lesson. Love it. But I know there's other people coming in and I want to know where you're coming in from. You just probably ended a meeting. You're probably joining as fast as you can because you know my content is super honest. I need to send a test comment and see. Yeah, there's a delay. Joshua, you got me. Interrogate. I don't know why my comments won't come through. So many feedback points for StreamYard. Okay. Hey, Emily, what's up? Welcome. We're letting everybody, it's like the school bells ringing and everybody's filing in. Come one, come all. Let's talk about solving everyone's existential crisis at your company, which is to drive engagement. Emily, how many employees do you have over at All Voices? I know you're not in HR, but you're like me. You're in the camp of being a huge advocate for HR. How big is All Voices? Also, everybody check out All Voices. It's an incredible tool to solve a big pain point, which is like making sure you actually know what's going on Teams because you're busy and you can't know everything. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to make my face a little bit smaller. Bye-bye. I'm going to get super tiny, and we are going to begin the presentation. Hold, please, while I click the right button. Okay, great. Hold on. Let me make sure I got all my fun stuff at the ready. Okay. La, 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 la. I don't know if any of you have ever given a webinar, but this is probably like my 3,000th webinar. And it's like so much fun to not be scared of these anymore and be spending time with all of you. I remember my first webinar, I found it on YouTube the other day. It was like 6 years ago. I was like, hi. I looked like I was being robbed live. Okay, let's begin. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth, but that's a good thing because I'm super honest about this content that you need really, really badly. For the next hour or so, we are going to show you how you're going to drive engagement correctly every single time no matter your industry or your company size. Yes, Joshua, even you who works in the zoo industry, I don't even still know what that means, but I hope you really do work for a zoo. That's fantastic. We're going to talk about how you're going to do this without burning out and without losing your mind. That's the entire point of being here today. If you adopt what I'm about to show you, you're going to experience way less stress. Hey, Jessica. I'm from Milwaukee too. That's crazy. We're going to have to talk about that. If you adopt what I'm about to show you, your HR career is going to completely change for the better. Pretend this is you, okay? Man or woman, you are always going to know that you're working on the right problems, and you're going to feel a lot more confident if an executive tries to tell you no. You're going to feel a lot more peaceful. As you lay awake in bed at night, you're going to be like, I love my career, instead of, oh my God, what do I do with this Hot Mess Express workforce? And you're just going to gain a ton of respect from employees at all levels, including your leadership team. So if that sounds good, let's stinking go. Hold on. Oh, this tool is so silly. Hold, please. I love live performances. Hold on. Okay. I know your time's super valuable, which is why I'm always making all these takeaways for you. So if you stay until the end, I'm giving away something you will take with you for the rest of your career. It's a very specific type of business case. I'll tell you what kind of business case at the end, but you will take this straight up to your executives and be able to say, hey, let me do this and also get out of my way. And they'll be like, totally. So if that sounds good to you, I'll give that to you at the end. Now, who am I, though, to tell you any of this? I know some of you know who I am, but some of you are new to this whole Corporate Christie thing. So let me just catch you up. I was your disengaged employee at every level, okay? At times, I could be a super high performer, but I needed an HR leader who was properly staffed, who had more resources, and who was taken seriously by their executive team, because my career was at times like the most traumatic thing I could have ever imagined going through. And it wasn't your fault, because no one has really laid the groundwork for what employees really need, not even SHRM. Fast forward to today, I have quit my corporate career. I set it down. When I learned that all of you weren't taught by SHRM how to send ENPS surveys, engagement surveys, pulse surveys, and lots of other little things we need to know what the heck is wrong and what's going on with your people, that's when I realized there's like a higher calling and something that I could do to help you. So I built a survey cadence and a ton of frameworks to help you create an ongoing feedback loop and get everyone at your company bought in, especially your executives, to what you're doing. And you will never be in a situation ever again, when you have my access to my content, to have someone be asking you like, what value do you bring to the organization? Like, we're done with that, okay? I hosted 2 podcasts, and I just started talking about what it was like to be disengaged. And since then, I've been helping thousands of HR leaders. These shows have won awards, and I've been speaking on stages. And it's not because I'm so cool. It's because I have no shame about my message. And the more I've talked about this, the more people have been like, well, how do we do it? So I've put together, like I've told you, like a bunch of frameworks and templates and scripts to say this, not that. And I've even taken it so far as to wear wigs on LinkedIn and run around and teach everyone why the way we work is wrong and why you haven't been set up for success and what we're going to do about it. And I promise you, SHRM does not teach any of this. So if you've been feeling stuck in your career, what I've been talking about and building has been helping thousands of HR leaders. I get messages every single day, and I'm just so glad you're here so that we can start to do better. You deserve better. So let's go. I have to imagine, because I've talked to so many of you, a day in your life is like corporate whack-a-mole. And you are expected to do so much in the background and solve everyone's like constant interruption crisis. And you have so many things that you do to keep the business running. It's really hard for you to ever get into change the business mode. You're in run the business mode. You're not properly staffed. You don't have enough people, time, or resources to really take a look at like what's going wrong so that you can fix it. And it keeps you stuck in firefighting mode. It gives a ton of you imposter syndrome. And it breaks my heart because the more I got to know all of you, you have the missing thread to the leadership team, which is you can still access your empathy. And you're super strategic and you do love people and you love to solve problems. And that notion that HR is not your friend, a lot of you've told me that really hurts you. And I can understand why. And I don't want that to be your life anymore, because on top of all of your basic daily admin interruptions and run the business stuff, you're expected to solve everyone's existential work crisis, which is to get them to be engaged. Employees who are not engaged run a business into the ground. Gallup has studied this. We all know this. You hear me talk about it on LinkedIn all the time. You are asked way too much with way too little. This is reactive HR, and we are done with this. I want to just dispel 3 corporate myths for you to make this like super easy for you to know why this has been so hard. And I'm not going to be able to, like, you're not going to walk away from this like, here I go, let's jump into it. I know exactly what to do right now. My goal right now is to inspire you to think differently about how you're going to drive engagement without burnout. And if this sounds good at the end, you're going to want to see how exactly we could do it over the next coming weeks and months. It's a much larger conversation, but the key right now is to show you how you can achieve this understanding without any hesitation moving forward. So like, we're going to talk about a few mindset shifts. Okay. We're going to shatter all these corporate myths for you right now. So myth number 1 is that you should know how to drive engagement by now. I hear this a lot. A lot of HR leaders are like, I'm 5 years into my career. I'm 10 years into my career. And I feel like I should know how to do this. And I'm like, no. HR content mostly, other than mine and Gallup's, it stinks. It's misleading. It's confusing. Specifically, employee engagement and employee experience are thrown around like they're the same thing. And if you do some research, like, okay, I got to drive engagement, how do I do that? Because SHRM never taught you, your HR certifications don't go deep into the fundamentals like I do. It can be so easy for you to fall into a Google trap trying to understand, like, what exactly should I do? Look at this screenshot. This was just like a quick screen grab of all of the tangled mess of content that's out there. It's all over the place. How could you possibly look at this one? 16 key drivers of employee engagement. How could you possibly take care of 16 things on top of everything else you have to do? But also, other articles will say 10 things or 5 things or 7 things. And we've got employee engagement and then employee experience. Well, is it like, baking and cooking? Is it like sleeping and taking a nap? Like, what are those things the same? When I first started doing my research, I was like, this is really weird. And here's what I figured out. You're about to learn like what most HR leaders have no idea. This is like super important for you to understand how this works. This is very simple. Employee experience and employee engagement are different. Employee experience is the input. I'll show you in a second. Stay with me. Employee engagement is the output. It's what you get. So let's take a closer look at how this plays out. Employee experience is dense. It's every employee's daily interactions with working at your company, ever since they first found out about your company, all the way through to the present moment. So what was it like to interview there? What was it like to get hired? The onboarding, what's their manager like? How is daily life on the team? Are there too many meetings? Are things unclear? You can see this poor employee looks like they're on a roller coaster of chaos and anarchy, because I think we all know that's what it's like to work at most companies, even for you in HR. It's like that for us too. And then you have many teams and lots of people. So they're all having a slightly different hot mess express roller coaster experience. And engagement, this is the common mistake. Engagement is always in flux. It's just a measurement of how connected people are feeling to the company. It's their emotional connection to want to do their best. But most HR leaders focus just on like engagement levels. And it's like, oh no, everybody's super disengaged. What do we do? It's actually the employee experience, the broken moments of working at your company that you need to fix in the right order. I will show you more what that looks like. And as you fix things, employees will start to sort of trust the process, like, okay, this is getting a little bit better. And you will start to drive engagement, even in times of great disengagement, when you focus on the employee experience. Over time, when you do this on a repeat basis and you do it well, you do it correctly, employees don't have to work for a perfect company. They just want to work for a company that feels like cares about them and wants to enable them to do their best work. And that's how you raise engagement levels. It's not to focus on employee engagement. It's to focus on fixing and optimizing the employee experience. So I'm going to pause right there. If anyone has any questions, throw them in the chat. I see Rita, you just joined. Rita, you were from the TikTok live the other day. I remember you. I was with Linda, the manager guru. Hey, Rita. Let me know in the comments if this makes sense. This is a very important fundamental that, again, when I realized I was the disengaged employee whose professional purpose was to go explain this with stick figures and drawing on slides, I was like, okay. For me now, I'm so obsessed. This is pretty basic stuff for me, but if anyone has any questions, please let me know, or just drop me a comment and say, yes, that makes sense. And let me know if you knew this or not. So, of course, you didn't know how to do this by now because no one's explained it like that, right? Okay, let's move on to myth number 2, which is you have to guess what makes the most impact. This is a common mistake where HR leaders are like, I implemented career pathing. I put in place a peer recognition program and no one's using it. That's a common mistake. It's not you, it's the lack of training. Gallup has already figured this out for us. I'll show you in a second how you make sure this never happens to you ever again. But for now, I want you to step into a day in the life of us, your employee. If you saw a homeless person on the street and you wanted to help because you have a huge empathetic helper heart, you love to solve problems and help people. I know this about you. If you walked up to a homeless person, however, and gave them some glitter tap shoes, that's really nice of you. That's really kind. But that's not what they need. And that doesn't make a lot of impact for them. And in fact, you might even offend them because they're like, okay, awesome. I guess I needed shoes, but like not shoes like this. And actually, I'm hungry. I don't have anywhere to live. I need shelter. I don't need this right now. What are you doing? Like, I'd rather you not even help me at all. This is weird for me. Okay. And that's exactly what's happening when in a survey, you ask employees, what do you need? And we tell you because you asked us. But it's why sometimes your employee programs or your initiatives that you worked so hard on, it's why they flop. It's why we don't log in. It's why you have a failed implementation rollout. It's why we tell you we want something and then you do it and then we don't use it. So you can take a screenshot of what I'm going to show you next, but also remember at the end, I've got a way for you to always have access to this stuff, but this is going to knock your socks off. If you've never seen the employee hierarchy of needs, this is something you should just have at the ready. Print it out, keep it with you forever, make it your desktop wallpaper. There are certain things that need to happen in a certain order. So just like Maslow's hierarchy, remember in high school, I don't remember what class it was, but it's like we had to learn, hey, you can't be self-actualized if you don't have the basics like food, water, and shelter. Basically, you can't even focus on friendships and your relationships if you yourself don't have your individual basic needs met. And employees have the same needs at work. And what's really cool is Gallup has studied disengagement for almost 5 decades. Okay, so they have so much data. Employee engagement is very data rich. I know it seems like a nice to have, and executives are like, whatever, this is like, we don't have time for this. No. There's like a ton of data that shows this is really important, and it drives businesses forward and makes them more productive. Employees, most companies are stuck on this bottom rung here with employees who don't know what's expected of them at work. And this has been me so many times, even when I was an executive. When people don't have clear expectations because their managers weren't trained, or there's no clear company goals, or goals are shipped a quarter late, or not a quarter late, like a month into the quarter. That happened to me so many times at scrappy startups. Employees need to have the basics before they can ever imagine giving each other recognition or having a path to grow. Let's go back to this really quick. You can see these stick figures who I drew, who are basically all me. All of these characters have been me at some point. No one wants a path to grow at a company that's burning them out. And that's when they're like, why did you work on this? I don't want this. No offense. And they'll talk on Slack, not about you personally, but they're like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? We don't want this. And they don't even really know why they're having this reaction, but disengagement is highly emotional. And it's resentment toward not having what you need to do your best work. Nobody wakes up in the morning and is like, I'm going to risk my 401k and my paycheck and my insurance to barely do my job. It's a trauma response to being stuck at the bottom of this hierarchy. Having the right materials and equipment is super crucial, obviously, duh, but it's things you may not think of, like we have tool bloat, or we have a manager, this would happen to me, where I'd say HubSpot, which is a marketing tool, HubSpot's a mess. I can barely send emails. I don't have targeted, tailored lists because I inherited this marketing tool that is very messy. And the manager would be like, oh, get over it. Like, do your job, because the manager's under pressure. But I would silently be like getting the Sunday scaries and not really participating in meetings, because it's like, what's the point? Let me know in the comments if you've seen this, if you've heard about this, if you've had a chance to take a screenshot, great. But what's actually really cool too is Gallup has made this map directly to what your engagement survey questions should be. So I didn't make this a takeaway on here, but you should just hear this and know this. Never make up your survey questions. The engagement survey questions have already been deeply researched, and they're basically this. These might look familiar to you. These are the best practice 12 questions to be asking employees to cover the entire employee experience. It's broad enough, but short enough to not create survey fatigue, and to give you just enough to have a snapshot of where things are at. A huge common mistake I've seen when I work with clients to help them send surveys is they make up the questions and they're like written a little strange and they're redundant, and employees are like, what? And I've taken surveys that are like 80 questions long, and I'm like, are we done yet? At this point, I'm just like, what are you even asking me? Employees have a lot going on, just like you. You don't want to overload them with so many questions. These are the engagement survey questions. Your pulse surveys are to learn more about why certain of these scored low, okay? That's another thing. ENPS and engagement and pulse surveys are thrown around like, okay, it's just a survey. No, they're very specific formats. I can teach you probably about that in the next webinar. But these are your engagement survey questions. And then you start at the bottom of the pyramid. You don't accidentally go to the top, so that you avoid this situation and accidentally driving disengagement even further, which is like the last thing you need to have happen to you. Are you starting to see why maybe in the past you've been burned out, or you've not known what to do and it's been really stressful? Do you see how a lot of this has already been figured out for you? And isn't it kind of crazy that like a lot of HR certifications don't cover this? It's like, what? It's okay. We're doing it now. Let's move on to myth number 3, which is that executives are going to block you, or they're not going to listen to you, or they're not going to let you send surveys. So like, why bother? I know a lot of you have been in this situation where the executives don't take you seriously, but actually they're super desperate for your help, but they can't hear you because they speak revenue and you speak the native language of empathy. I much prefer your language because you understand the emotional intelligence of why we're stuck and why it's hard and why it's bad for everyone. But executives have gotten to the level that they're at because they speak business and KPIs and revenue and a bunch of acronyms that you might not be super familiar with. But they can't take you seriously when you bring them people problems. So we need to make sure that you have learned how to speak fluent revenue. When you bring them people problems, you can see here on the left, we got an HR leader and they're like, this is you. Maybe this has happened to you. You send a survey and you're like, oh my gosh, to your main executive, maybe your CEO, you're like, hey, it's really bad out there. People are super disengaged. My team's short-staffed. Like we're going to have to solve for this. It's like, this is a huge problem. Oh my God. All executives here is, oh my God, why can't you do your job? They're like, that's what they're thinking. And that's not true. You are so incredible at your job and nobody understands the value you bring to the organization, but I do. What we need to shift you into is being able to say things like, hey, executive who's obsessed with money, but of course you are because that's your job. I see a link between our turnover rates and a decrease in ARR. That's annual recurring revenue. Stay with me. Based on our latest pulse survey, I have a potential solution. That might feel a little foreign and a little clunky because it's like you're talking numbers and business when it's a highly emotional problem, but that's how you get through to them. You're going to become a master of like learning how to talk to employees. Employees just want to do their best work. So you're like, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you do your best work. So take this survey super honestly. We love that. Managers, you're like, hey, you want a more productive team? You want, the resources for your team? Encourage your people to take this survey. We're not going to fire you. We need this information. And managers love to hear that. With executives, you got to talk money. So you got to become multilingual and know who you're talking to. And it's the most crucial with executives because even if you get employees to open up, that's like one of the hardest things. It's simple, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. You can get employees to open up and tell you everything that's wrong with the business. But if you can't get executives to take it seriously, you're never going to get the chance to fix it. And this is where executives will start to look at you over time, even though you're doing everything, and be like, what value do you even bring to the business? Which is like a gut punch. I just posted about this on LinkedIn. It's a gut punch for you because you do so much. They don't understand that you're just chronically in firefighting, run the business mode. As soon as you can get them to see that this is a business imperative and that, according to Gallup's research, companies who use employee engagement as a revenue strategy are 23% more productive, have 51% less turnover. Turnover is expensive. You'll start to get employees to like perk up and be like, oh my gosh, you speak business? And you'll be like, I do speak business. I also speak the language of the people, which is you are traumatizing and stressing them out. But even though you're multilingual, you're saying the same stuff because if employees are the revenue drivers, okay, if every employee was hired to push the business forward, even if it's someone who answers the phones or packs your product or builds your product or project manages a team who is designing the product, every employee is a revenue driver. And if your job is to take great care of the revenue drivers so that they stay and do their best work and they don't quit, you are revenue driver number one. That's why I keep saying it's the golden age of HR. You are about to have this big glow up where you're taken super seriously because you understand how to talk to your different stakeholders, executives, managers, employees. You're going to get everyone to get you and what you're doing so that you can advocate for a properly staffed team. I can teach you that in a different webinar. Have all the resources you need. And for executives, you'll get funded every single time. Because if if you are bringing people problems as revenue solutions and your executives are still like, meh, whatever, don't work there. And I have scripts and templates that teach you how to politely say, if this is not important to you, then actually you don't care about money, which is weird because you're an executive. So like, no offense, like, are you good at your job? You wouldn't say it that way, but it's what it insinuates is like, why are you blocking the company from making more money? What are you doing? But again, SHRM and HR certifications don't teach this. And this is where my templates are like so wildly popular and my scripts, because this is what executives need to hear. When I was a marketing leader, I would have a CEO be like, make the logo blue and not purple. I don't like purple. And I'd be like, respectfully, no offense, you don't understand color psychology or our brand guidelines. And Emily Fenix here. I know Emily's in marketing. Like, you know, you have to sometimes get your executive to get out of your way and let you do your job. But you can't just do that. You can't throw a temper fit. I've made that mistake. I'm not saying you wouldn't throw a temper fit, but you got to get really strategic about how you talk to people. Can't just tell them what's in it for you. You got to say what's in it for them. And that's true for your real life too. Listen, you're talking to a lady who's gotten divorced and had to burn a lot of things down, and you can't talk about stuff, what's in it for you to get what you need, when you still have to maintain relationships with people who don't get you. Okay? So I knew this webinar was going to be like jam-packed, and you were going to get blasted with a fire hose of information. And I know you're probably thinking, like I told you at the beginning, Christy, that sounds amazing, but how do I go implement all of this? And my friends, that is why I quit my corporate career, so that I can get you out of reactive HR. Well, you're going to get yourself out of reactive HR. I'm just going to give you the framework to make it happen for yourself. Nobody's ever taught you a lot of this. I weirdly can't drop a link to what I'm showing you right now, but I will find a way to get you access so you can sign up for this if you want. I have built the Confident HR Leader Masterclass. Have I worked in HR? No. But did you just learn a bunch of stuff that you had no idea was like a thing you should even consider? Probably totally. This entire framework is laid out into 5 simple modules based on thousands of conversations I've had and real clients I've had where I've run them through, how do you get employees to take surveys? How do you get them to take them honestly? And what do you act on first? And how do you get executives to fund it and get out of your way? And how do you make that an ongoing feedback loop where you're regularly sending surveys and people aren't having survey fatigue, so that you know exactly what to work on? So, oh, Julie, I'm so glad. I could make these comments show up, I think, but that's okay. Julie said, we need this so much. That heals my heart, because this, you guys, this makes me make sense of my disengaged past, okay? My career was really frustrating me. And now I see so clearly that you were not set up for success. And if you thought this was fun and engaging, okay, wait till you see the lessons in this course. I talk like this, and I put on my character wigs, and I teach you like, hey, sometimes your executive is going to gaslight you. It's called a Darbo response. And I like act it out for you. So this is going to be way different than any HR certification you've had to pay out of pocket for. I'm so sorry that you have to maintain these crazy certifications just to get hired. I have a huge bone to pick with SHRM. I hate that for you. One day they're going to sue me, but I'm not that LinkedIn famous yet. But I'll keep saying it because I care about you realizing you're not crazy. But I've priced this very, very accessible for you. Right now, you can get the pre-sale price of $199. Okay. After that, the price is going to go up to like $349. But this is an on-demand course that you will have access to forever. And I will constantly be updating it. Plus, you get all of my templates. There's over technically, there's 27 templates for you to, the worst thing is when someone's like, just go do this. And you're like, oh, that sounds great. But then you're like, well, how exactly do I say it? How exactly do I think through it? I make sure that you are adding your own specific company values so that you can say to an executive, against our value of transparency, empowerment, whatever the bogus values are, you are going to use the power of psychology to take these templates even further and make it tailored and unique to your organization. I have a link for this. I'm going to try to drop a link to this really quick. I'm not trying to like shove something that I'm selling you in your face, but this will change your career. And I've seen this work, and it's really, really important for you to just have access to this and stop trying to figure this out on your own. Let me stop talking for one hot second. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat, but I just want to drop this link in the LinkedIn comments before I forget. So hold please. I know this is a little maybe bizarre. Hold on, stay with me. I can sing while I do it too. La, 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 la. Okay, I'm hosting this on a platform called Kajabi and get link. Okay, I'm posting this in the comments, and this is going to be a resource that can even be a mobile app. You'll be able to access this stuff on your phone too. The lessons are quick. They're like less than, okay, I just posted it in the comments of this actual LinkedIn Live, so you'll see it there. But let me get back to this. These lessons are quick, they're concise, they're just what you need. There's like 3 takeaways, and look at some of these lessons. Like I named them even funny things for you. The first module is all about mechanics and mindset. Okay, we're going to shift the mindset things that you need to change to get people to take you more seriously. And I will teach you how to advocate for more headcount and resources. That is like step 1. You got to put your own air mask on. We are done with this like, oh, HR is not a profit center, so like just do everything and be grateful and like figure it out. Nope, we're not doing that anymore. It's hurting businesses, it's hurting employees, and it's hurting you most specifically. Module 2 is all about driving alignment. So I'll show you how to get your CEO to just love you, okay? And make sure you get invited into leadership and revenue meetings. Module 3 is all about survey strategy, because this is the most foundational piece. Every company's different. The way you drive engagement is the same. What I just showed you is like how you drive engagement no matter your industry. And you're not going to get burned out because you'll know exactly what to work on. But the things that could be wrong in any given organization are totally different. Surveys are how you get to the root of why your unique workforce is disengaged. So we're going to cover any fear or trepidation you have on sending surveys. I'll teach you how to lean into negative feedback and get excited, because you can't do your job if you don't get this negative feedback. Also, employees are not mad at you. We are so glad you asked. So I teach you how to keep your head and not take it personally. And you'll learn the difference between ENPS, engagement, and how to use pulse surveys to like really get clear on what's wrong and what it would take to fix it. Module 4 is all about data and influence, and I'll teach you how to quickly decode negative feedback, pick the right problems every time, and present data to executives to where you're like, if you don't get funded, you're going to find another job. And you're going to blow the socks off of anyone you would interview with, because you're going to speak business and they're going to be like, when can you start? This sounds incredible. This is what we've been missing. So there's going to be no like begging for buy-in or like, please see me. This is important. Can you please take me seriously? No, that's going away. And then module 5 is all about execution and getting confident in your all hands meetings. You should always be speaking at all hands. And I would teach you what you would need to be telling employees, what we need to hear from you, and how to measure all the innovation that you're making at your organization, so that you can plan your path to get promoted. Okay. Again, I don't think Sherm teaches you this, but I will. And I'm so excited for all of you because I've seen this work. And it's based on every question I've ever gotten from all my 2 podcasts, Flip Flops and People Ops and Corporate Christie. Check those out. If you want to learn over time, my podcasts will teach you all of this. But if you want to completely grab hold of your career and like fast track it to what you actually imagined, which was when you wanted to help people and solve problems. If you want to make that happen way faster, this course is going to get you there. So again, I know this was a lot, but with all these templates at the ready, you can download them. You'll always have access once you purchase a seat. You're going to see that this is actually a really fun game, and driving engagement becomes easy because you know exactly what to do, and you know that your workforce is unique, and you have all these templates to bend reality. But you're going to use your powers for good, because I know all of you and you're incredibly misunderstood. And you want everyone to be okay. But the problem is like everyone's version of I want to be okay is different across employees and managers and executives. And that's just going to become like super simple for you to slice and dice. Who am I talking to? What do they care about? And how do I get them to get it? Okay. So that was a lot. I purposely kind of blew through this because last webinar, we talked for like an extra almost hour and people had a ton of questions. And I love answering questions. Sometimes you all inform my LinkedIn posts. I'll completely shift my plan for that week based on something someone said. So that may not happen this time, but now is a chance. If you have any questions at all, I would love to talk about it now. I wish I could give you all the microphone and have a turn for that, but I'm just gonna flash up some amazing comments. Jessica, hey buddy. So much sense. Yes, I must have been asking about the employee hierarchy of needs, but I feel like your perspective as not being HR is so key to being able to name this. Thank you. Thank you. For a long time, I was trying to hide that I didn't have HR experience. But sometimes if you've only ever worked in HR, I think it's really valuable to have the perspective of me and people like Emily Fennick, who's here, the disengaged employee. It's like the missing thread of all this goofy HR content that's all over the place. Taryn, hey Taryn, Taryn's from Kudos. I love the tool Kudos, everyone. Someone here is from All Voices and someone here is from Kudos. Please check those tools out. I've used Kudos for peer recognition. Taryn says, the more you can move the needle on results, the more you can connect your strategies and how they directly impact the business success. Yeah. Yes. I wish this was like in the trainings. I've never looked super deeply at a SHRM training because I would never want to give them my money. Sorry to be, it's Scorpio season and I'm a Scorpio. So sometimes I like to burn it all down, but I'm like shocked that they don't teach you some of this stuff. When you can tie your specific business KPIs, like this is just a rule for life. Just think about who you're talking to and what they care about. Your company values are a great way for you to slot those in. Like, well, why aren't we living up to this value? Or, you know, if one of our KPIs is this amount of revenue or this amount of customer growth and employees are saying this is a blocker to supporting our customers, let's prioritize it. You'll see how easily it is to change people's minds because everybody wants to be successful. You're about to get really good at like getting people to say, oh, I was wrong. They may not say they were wrong, but they'll let you do what you need to do. Does anyone have anything specific that they might be dealing with at an organization that they want to talk about as a group? Your boss isn't here. Your employees aren't going to see this. I know nobody's lonelier than HR and the CEO. Like you can't say certain stuff, but this is a LinkedIn Live that most people are like, no, thank you. But if anyone has any specific questions, we could talk about that now. Rekha, hi from India. Hey girl, what time is it there? I did this webinar earlier in the morning and it was like last week I did it at noon and that was a mistake because it was Wednesday. That's like the peak of your week. So if you have any feedback too on when you're available, I'm trying to figure out and test the right times to be doing these webinars. Julie says, we need this so much. Thank you, Christy. You're welcome. I'm so glad to get that feedback. Okay. If no one has any questions, that's totally fine. I can keep talking forever. I've never been so engaged to talk about disengagement. It's like my whole career, that was the training ground for these moments like this right now. But if no one has any specific questions, those of you here from HR, oh, Rekha, it's 11 p.m. there. Yikes, sister. I'm a night owl too. I get it. I went to bed at like 1 a.m. last night and then was like, I have a webinar. It's okay. The webinars are better when I'm a little bit sleep deprived. I want to just give anyone here in HR a pep talk and just tell you, you know, after talking to so many of you, you have been not taken seriously and not allowed to do your job and also not taught to do your job. And you still work in HR. And I love you for sticking with it because sometimes people will tell me, oh, I don't know if HR is right for me. which is the same as like if you were studying to be a pilot, but no one ever really taught you how, and then you were trying to fly a plane and it was like not going great. Okay, that's maybe a terrible example, but I think you understand the metaphor. And you're like, I'm not good at this, or this isn't fulfilling me. Let's use a less scary example. Let's say like you're trying to be a world-renowned chef, but no one's ever taught you properly how to cook. They're just like, sometimes you have ingredients, and this is what's called an oven. And I'm not going to tell you the science of temperatures and how that affects food. I'm not going to teach you how to plate things. I'm not going to teach you the different cuisines of the world. And just like, here's just a few things to know about and a few buzzwords on how to cook. That's why your careers haven't been fulfilling. And I encourage you to stick with it because the world is changing. Millennials are stepping into leadership positions. There's nothing wrong with boomers. I love all the generations. They all have their great qualities. But there is a shift happening with emotional intelligence. And more executives are starting to get that their people strategy is the revenue strategy because the employees are the revenue drivers. Duh. You know this, I know this, but for some reason, you know, if money's the root of all evil, sometimes executives can get to a certain level of success and they accidentally learn that if they're just aggressive and scary, that the company will make more money. But new age leaders are emotionally intelligent. They're starting to see you as their ultimate revenue lever and their partner for not running the business into the ground. And you're going to start to see that it's easier and easier to get executives to get this basic stuff because at the end of the day, you know, more and more people are in therapy too. Like just our whole concept around mental health and, you know, maybe I've been over therapized, but I'll even teach you in this training the different corporate trauma responses. A lot of executives default to anger and fight. And a lot of HR leaders default to people pleasing, which is freeze, and fawning, which is actually people pleasing. But you're going to be more equipped than ever to deal with anybody. And as the disengaged employee, I'm here to tell you, like, I absolutely see that you're my friend. I see that you're between a rock and a hard place, and it's incredibly isolating to work in HR. But stick with it because I know you're about to have some major wins and you're going to see what all of this was for. And from great suffering can come like incredible progress once you have the right training to do what you're so passionate about. You love to solve problems and help people. Taryn said something I love this. Your people have always been and will always be your greatest asset. Yep. Taryn's in marketing too. Taryn's one of your regular employees. We want your business to be successful. You need to know this. When we disengage, we are full of shame. It doesn't feel good. Again, who wants to wake up and risk their 401k, their paycheck, and their insurance to like barely do good work? We get the Sunday scaries, maybe just like you. We don't mean to actively work against the business, but I want to go back to that employee hierarchy of needs. When we're stuck at the bottom rung, it's just really hard for us to like want to do our best when we can't. Employees just want to do their best work. And we want to be proud of where we work. And we want to feel like where we work is an extension of us and that it's like worth trading our most precious resource, which is our time. And when that's not happening, then we talk shit on Slack because we're trying to make sense of what's going on. And we trauma bond with other employees. Like, was that weird for you? This manager's a jerk. That meeting had no agenda and it showed. We have way too many projects going on. Employees have a commitment to quality because we're human. Everybody wants to be seen and successful. And a lot of times it's just these little silly things that you don't know what's wrong because you're so far away from us. You're so busy doing all the other super important stuff to run the business. It's impossible for you to know what's going on every team with each unique manager and how they're accidentally traumatizing us. Some of them are pushovers. Some of them push us too hard. Surveys are your key to unlock the exact roadmap. It's like the answers to the disengagement test at your company. You never have to guess again. We will tell you exactly what's upsetting us. And then when you fix things in the right order, things will improve really quickly. And your CEO at some point is going to be like, holy cow, when you're like, look at all these things I've improved. Look at all these metrics it ties to. Now pay me. Okay. I'm excited for you. I think this is your new era. This is your HR glow up. It is the golden age of HR. It's been really eye-opening for me to see why things haven't worked out for me in the past, and it's all about empowering you. So it's your turn. You guys have been very underserved for good content that is engaging and fun. Hello. I worked in marketing. My whole personality is like, how do I make this fun, but also like get to the point as quickly as possible? And oh, hi, Emily. You have so much support, okay, from me and lots of other executives who are starting to get it. I'm starting to see more than ever, CEOs are resharing my posts. Product leaders, marketing leaders are like, yeah, this makes sense. And I'm so happy to see it because all of that benefits you. Emily Granholm is one of my like dearest friends. Emily, I'm so happy to see you. You love to help people, and your insights as a formerly disengaged worker are always spot on. So proud of you. I love you, Emily. That's what I think I have in common with all of you. I did not work in HR. You can see now how that's okay. And I might know more than the average HR leader because I can hyperfixate. And anyway, I was going to say something extra crazy. We'll save that for another day. But that's what I have in common with all of you. I was always on the culture committee. I was always wanting the company to be successful. I always have loved building the relationships and getting to know the teams and the people. And like as a manager, I loved to empower my teams. But oftentimes things would fall apart and spin into a hot mess because I wasn't equipped either. And I would be accidentally working against your business. And I see so clearly the disconnect. But that's what we have in common is we love people. I know you all love people. I know you want everyone to be okay. You're an advocate for the business, but that also means you're an advocate for the people because they are the business. These narratives of like, HR is there to protect the business. Okay. When that's done well, there will be less issues for the business. They'll never go away entirely, but all this corporate drama and people getting put on pips and people yelling at each other in meetings, like that stuff's going to happen less and less when clear expectations are in place. You know what I mean? The brilliant jerk won't fit in because your company will be living its values and will have clear goals and KPIs. I'll flash up this again. This is the, thank you, Emily. I love you. This is the curriculum for the course. Emily has seen some of this content. She was in a community I built that I actually shut down so I could do this and make it on demand for you. But Emily has seen some of this. She's heard, oh, there's a typo. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you for loving me. Hey, we're all imperfect. But Emily's seen some of this content and she's used some of my templates, and we've talked at great lengths about how HR leaders can use this to their advantage. So I'll just flash up a few more things. If you have to go, I love you. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining. Where's my mouse? Here we go. I like what you said here, Joshua. Employees need to be given the opportunity to do their best work, and you can give them that. And it's the keys to your sanity. And it's what you want at the end of the day, too. So again, in the comments of this event, I'm sorry, this tool is a little funny and I can't share a comment, which is really weird in here, but I have shared the link. If you want to take the masterclass, if you're paying out of pocket, I have a script. It's not on the landing page for you to buy, but I have a script you can use to get this funded by the company you work for. Oh, the business case. Oh my gosh. Silly goose, Christy. On my website, let me flash up this banner. I have a script. If you're paying out of pocket, let me help you put this on a company card if you're working somewhere, okay? I have a script for that. Just reach out to me. I don't want you to have to pay out of pocket. You do that enough. But if you want the business case template, it's to get executive buy-in for you to send surveys. I've created a very data-rich, revenue-rich business case in case a CEO is ever like, don't send surveys. That's going to be a big distraction. Don't do that. We don't need that. Don't focus on that right now. No, your business can't function if you can't send surveys. And this business case that I made will show them that there's data to prove that this must happen. Otherwise, the business will never move forward and it will continue to like miss its revenue targets, and the culture is going to spin even more out of control, and it's all avoidable. But this is written in that example I told you in a way that they're more likely to hear you, because it talks about money and it gives them data. They need proof. And it's got all this research to say surveys set you free. Surveys are the foundation on which any business functions. If we are not doing this, this is crazy. It's like flying a plane with no windshield. Nobody would do that in their right mind. We must send surveys, and this is how you get them to get it. So go to corporatechristy.com/resources, and the template, I made it free. It's on my website. It's called like the business case for employee surveys or something like that. Please take it. Even if you're not dealing with that right now, that specific issue, at some point you might. So please take that template and just put it in your Google Drive or like save it. Do people still use thumb drives? I don't know. Elder millennial over here, put it on your thumb drive. But you know what I mean. Save it to your desktop, keep it with you, email it to yourself. It's something you will use for the rest of your career to flip your executive to the mat if we're talking jujitsu. Yeah. Great. I'm happy to hang out for 8 more minutes. And if anyone has any questions, please ask them. But I just want to say thank you so much for all that you do. I had no idea how much you do in the background. And when I learned about a day in your life, I wanted to scream. It's a lot. And you do a lot of context switching. Okay. Payroll, compliance, policies, benefits, hiring, firing, internal comms, dealing with like any kind of drama that unfolds that's unexpected. Someone's pregnant, someone's getting divorced, someone's buying a house, someone's mom died. You do so much. And I appreciate you so much. And if no one's told you today, this week, your month, this year, your whole career, I appreciate you so much. And these businesses cannot function without you. You are so business critical. And I'm so happy to straighten your crown, man or woman, to be like, oh my God, we need you. Thank you for all that you do. Okay. Yeah, I could talk about how much I love you guys forever, but I'm done. And if you want to send me a message on LinkedIn, that's great. If anytime you all interact with my content, that helps me a lot. If you have any specific issues you want to talk about later, please send me a DM. You can check out my 2 shows. One of them has been sunsetted, but let me just go way back. I think you all would really enjoy my Corporate Christie podcast because it's my more grown-up version of Flip Flops and People Ops when I had a lot more knowledge. But I have episodes all about the specific survey formats and how to deal with a bullish executive and like why employees disengage. And I talk just like this. So if you enjoyed this, I know you would love my other shows. And just look out for more wig videos because there's a lot to talk about. And I love that I can make fun of what's wrong to help us all heal. I think comedy is very healing. And I'm always solution oriented. So although I poke fun, it's always but this is what it looks like to do it right. So I'm not just being silly. I always have something for you to learn when you see these. So always stop and watch them and reshare them so that we can get the word out. And I've been loving going viral for this. And my kids are like, what's your job, mommy? And I'm like, mommy gets to help like the most important employee at every company remember how powerful and amazing they are. That's why mommy has wigs. Okay. Love you guys. Take care. And I will talk to you soon. I think the next webinar will be a deep dive into the survey formats. So if that sounds good, I will post about that next week. We're going to get specific about what the key differences are between EMPS, engagement, and pulse, how to think about them. Again, you can take the masterclass. The masterclass I'm still building. It's going live in December. You're getting the pre-sale price. But if you want to continue learning with me, I will have another LinkedIn Live next week, and we will have this fun all over again. If you have feedback on what time works for you, please tell me. but you should always register for these because it's available on demand after this. So even if you can't attend, if you have a meeting conflict or if you're not just available that day, always register for my stuff because you'll get a notification that's like, okay, the event happened. Now go watch it. So, all right. I will talk to you all soon. Have a great rest of your day, great week, and we'll do this again next week. Toodles. Love you.